friends. Hey, listen, the main thing I want this podcast to be about, okay, is about us being friends, all right? And we fucking love.
Hey guys, welcome to the 2A Brotherhood podcast. Today we got the man, the myth, the legend, Tommy. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, Tommy Stevens here. Glad you guys could have me on, talk about a couple different topics. I know you guys had a couple questions about the hunting topic. We do a lot of predator hunting here at nighttime. I got my setup in the background. You guys feel free to ask about that and any other questions that you guys may have.
Yeah. What's your like go-to round for hunting? You said you do a lot of like nighttime stuff, but what's your go-to round for hunting?
It depends on what we're hunting. For coyotes specifically, I use 223. It's kind of like a nice versatile round if you're trying to keep fur when fur's in season. I use a 55 grain VMAX, which does really well on coyotes. It kind of has a nice entry hole and doesn't like blow out the fur in the backside. I got a Ruger MPR 18 set up here with a Digex C50 by Pulsar, and that is night vision. It's a day-night scope. Has the little switch here in the front that you can turn it from color day to black and white night. And the optical end here, it parallaxes in so that it draws in more light. So you get a longer shooting light legally. Because if you were day hunting, or even if you wanted to use it for deer, I don't use my 223 for deer, but that scope specifically, if you wanted to put it on like a 308 or 300 or something like that, you get a longer legal time to shoot because it draws in more of the natural light. You don't have to use an artificial illumination. Whereas at nighttime, you use like an IR or something like that. But for coyotes, actually, if you're hunting under a decent moon, I've actually been able to see out probably 100 yards without having to have the IR turned on with that scope because of the residual light that it draws into the end of that optic. So, you get a little bit more time of legal shooting light. Obviously, you want to make your ethical decisions whether you can make that shot or not. But it gives you the availability to be able to do that longer through the daytime. And then obviously when it gets dark outside and you're hunting predators or something like that, you'll use your IR. And I believe the longest confirmed kill that I have with this on a coyote is 253 yards. Obviously was able to identify what it was at that point. We were using thermal binoculars, but with the night vision, with it being night vision, you can actually see detail. You're not just seeing like a hot signature. You can actually tell like, oh, that's a red fox, that's a gray fox, that's a coyote.
That's cool.
Yeah, no, it's really dope.
How much was that scope, dude?
That scope when I bought it was, I think, honestly, the Pulsar night visions weren't too bad. I think it was, I'm gonna say 1,200. When you go from night vision to thermal, it might be up to like 16 now because I got it as a demo through our sponsorship with Fox Optic, and it was a demo for us to try out and get footage and stuff for their channel and store. It might be up a little more now because I got it when it first came out, and it really kind of took off. Obviously, it's a Pulsar. Pulsar is a very recognizable brand in optics, especially when you're using night vision or thermals. I do know the thermal scopes, there's different steps and different grades you can get. Obviously, Pulsar, you're going to get quality things, but there's different grades that you can get with the different types of the chips for the thermals. My dad has the Axion 2, and it was around $4,800 for the thermal. But it's you get what you pay for when it comes to an optic. You guys know that better than anybody.
Yeah.
So, it's if I'm going for coyotes specifically, I'm gonna use my 5.56. A lot of people will use like a 22-250. If you want a little more range out of it, if you're hunting daytime, like big open areas, 22-250 is a great round. But as far as for what we do with what we have, I'm not pushing shots out past like the 250 mark if I can. Usually we want them to come in. That's the whole point of calling. If sometimes you get them hung up out past where they're coming in, if they're a little skittish to the call, if someone else has been hunting and they didn't call right and they know that call, they become aware like, hey, that sound tried to hurt me before. They don't know like it's a person, but they know, hey, that sound like it really tried to mess me up before. So like you'll get some that get hung up and you can switch calls sometimes to get them to come in. But sometimes they'll get hung up and you have to take the shot. So most of the time where we're hunting for farmers that are the coyotes are messing with their sheep, they're messing with their cattle, things like that. But obviously you always want to make an ethical shot and try to get it down in one shot if you can.
Yeah, my old house, the farmer, he had his sons every so often go out because it was like a corn soy farm behind me, and they also had cattle. And then, like 2 out of the 5 years I lived there, they had a coyote problem. They were coming over and attacking their livestock, and then he would just send out his sons in the middle of the night, and you would just hear pow 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 throughout the night when they found the den, because they would actually like go out searching for them. Because there was like a big farm, and then he had like a bunch of woods too, and that's where all the coyotes were. I saw one day because we used to have a cat before we had to put him down because he got feline AIDS. But I thought a coyote was going to get his no. I mean, he got it from getting
being a dog,
getting into
got it from Freddie Mercury. Is what he got it from.
No, that cat was a dog.
Bruh. Dude, that cat had the whole freaking neighborhood. When he passed away, when we put him down, all of a sudden there's like birds coming back into the yard. Other cats are coming.
He had that place locked down.
Dude, for like he was outdoors for 3 years. So he had a great life. He had a big freaking chunk of what's it called, property. You know what I mean? And kept everybody.
He had his blocks. What he had.
And then right down the street at the post office, there was like, I don't know, like 30 stray cats, and nobody called nobody called animal control because they would eat all the mice from the farms, right? And apparently one of them or a bunch of them had AIDS, and he came home one day, half his face was hanging off. Had to take him to the vet. And they patched his butt up, but in like 3 days, he was back outside kicking ass, man. That cat was serious.
Brings you a bird. He's like, look what I brought you. I brought you.
Oh yeah, dude. We had a sunroom where he stayed at. Dude, birds, mice, bunnies. He like nothing lived in like a 3-block radius of my house because of this cat. Yeah, dude.
Livestock. Because you said about they would go out on the farms and because of the livestock. I've actually had farmers that were mowing their fields and they looked over. I believe one time they said that one of their heifers was having a calf, and literally before it was all the way out, there was like 2 or 3 coyotes pulling it out of her.
Oh, geez.
So yeah, and the way we usually do it, we usually set up like a route. We go to multiple places, and like an evening, we'll we have like different like a pattern that we'll go like this farm, this farm, this farm, this farm, this farm, make a night of it. That way, we're not just out like sitting out at one place for 3 hours and haven't had nothing come in. What we usually do is we'll go out. We'll get we'll park the truck. We'll get our stuff out. Obviously, we use the tripods. Just much easier to be more stable. You always want to make a better shot, but we'll go out, walk to the set, put the caller out. We'll start calling. Most of the time, if you're going to get something, we'll usually start off with a game call, like a cottontail or a jackrabbit or something like that. And usually they're coming in pretty quick. If we're there for 20 minutes and we haven't had nothing come in from the game calls, we'll switch to like depending on the time of year, like a female coyote heat. It's like some heat howls, and a lot of times you'll hear them if they're there. They'll start howling back at you, and then you turn the caller down a little bit and just keep doing your challenge calls and things like that. And that's another way to get them in if they're not listening to the game calls. But if you go to a place and you're calling there for 20, 25 minutes, don't have nothing, switch to your like your heat calls or whatever like that, and you don't have nothing, then we'll just move out. We're there to try to make progress. If there's not there that night, because they make circles. If they're not there that night, they might be back there next week. So we'll go back next week and try it again, and we'll go to the next place because they have an area that they run. So if they're not there, then they will be at some point. But yeah, no, it's crazy. Just the amount of stories you hear from the farmers that have us come in. Because me and my dad are actually certified through the DNR to take care of handle nuisance wildlife. So we kind of have a kind of an in for like an all around, like all year round, like hunting. Because there's a hunting season for coyotes. You can hunt coyotes in West Virginia all year round in the daytime. But when it comes to about around, all year round in the daytime, and then season comes in, I want to say, or it goes out, I want to say at the end of August, where you can hunt them at nighttime until the first of the year. And then it comes back in nighttime until August, because they didn't say it, but I feel like in my opinion, is because you could be out poaching deer, and then DNR pulls up and it's like, hey, what are you guys doing? Oh, we're just coyote hunting. It kind of alleviates that in a sense, as long as, you know what I mean? So that's what makes sense to me, why they have that season, like the night season ends and then starts back up. But as far as West Virginia goes, coyotes are a nuisance. You can hunt them all year round in the daytime with no issues, as long as you have a hunting license and have permission to be where you're at. Yeah, that's the big key right there.
Does your guys' deer season start in August?
Now, our deer season, bow season usually starts in September.
That's what I thought.
But I figure they get it before just to have a date. So our archery season starts in September, and then rifle season comes in every year the Monday before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Yeah. So
about the same as Maryland, close to.
Yeah. I think Maryland's comes in a little sooner for rifle, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, West Virginia comes in the rifle season comes in the Monday before Thanksgiving every year. So the family always takes off. Everybody always takes off work for the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday up to Thanksgiving. We all just hunt and just have a good time.
Yeah.
Kind of always done that since I've been a kid. So.
What else do you hunt besides coyotes?
We hunt deer, turkeys, depending on what the farmers are having issues with. Sometimes they'll have us come in for red fox, because red fox comes in around the same time as coyote for nighttime in November. They'll get us in. Most of the time it's not for livestock unless they have chickens or like smaller things like that. But foxes are notorious for, if you have the farmers have like silage that they like wrap, and like the white strips you see in the farms, like whatever you see, like the silage, they will dig into the top of it and bust the wrap, and then kind of ruins their stuff. So if they're having issues with that, they'll call us in to take care of the foxes. And then if they're in season, I just kind of got to pick my shot angle with this, because they're a little different than the coyotes for like the way that the bullet reacts to a fox. They are smaller. So I can save the fur. If they're a nuisance, and fur's not the main thing, but we do save the fur if it's in season. So yeah, we do that with foxes, spring gobblers. I think turkey season comes in. Gobbler, yeah, turkeys.
Yeah.
Turkeys, yeah. What? What do you think? I'm out here hunting peach cobblers?
I don't know, dude. I
can't kill me a cobbler. Right? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, turkeys. We have turkeys, foxes, coyotes, deer, rabbits. We used to have beagles. We used to run rabbits. That was really fun. That was a big part of my childhood. We'd hunt rabbits. Squirrels. Squirrels are really fun to hunt, especially now. I just got a suppressor for my 22, and it's been pretty great. I actually got the RXD 22 Ti, no sponsorship, but it's a really great can. I haven't had any issues with it. That's a compilation between Ruger and Dead Air. They came together and made a 3D printed suppressor with a sleeve, and the way that this suppressor is designed, it also has a lead catch muzzle device. Most 22 suppressors or rimfire suppressors get dirty really quick. It still gets dirty, but most of the rimfire suppressors don't have a muzzle device. They're just direct thread. This one is a direct thread, but it has a muzzle device that you can get as well, and it has like a lead catch. 22 is a very dirty round, so it just keeps it from getting all clogged up from the lead, or the lead messing with your baffles. It's a 3D printed design, so it has like a sleeve that goes over. I'm not going to dismantle it on recording, but I don't know how YouTube is with their stuff, but it's a really nice can. I haven't had any issues with it.
So how would you clean it? Does the sleeve come off and then you just clean it with
it's yes. So this right here, this part, this slides off, and then the baffle system is a one piece. Okay. So you can just manually clean it, or if you want to like soak it, there is an O-ring in here. I would suggest taking that off. You don't want your solvent or whatever to eat your O-ring up, but you can literally just soak it and then spray it down, brush it off, and you're good to go. It's 100% user serviceable, which is what I liked about it. On the Coyote gun, on the MPR-18, I am running a Chimera 300 from Silencer Co., and I love that can. You can get whatever device you want, and I'm running an ASR mount on it right now because I just feel like it's easier for me just to twist it and get it off, and it goes to multiple different rifles. Pretty much all of my rifles that I have, pistols, rifles, they all have ASR mounts on them, and the can's interchangeable between pretty much all of them. So I really love that as well. I haven't had any issues with it. Subsonic 300 blackout through that can sounds like you're shooting a BB gun. It's really fun. Yeah.
Dang. So you were talking earlier about pelts and everything and saving pelts. What do you guys do with the furs and everything? Do you guys like sell them, or you use them to make anything, or what do you guys do with them?
So usually what we do is we'll skin the animal, process the animal, and then we will flesh and stretch them so we get all the stuff off that you don't want. And then once they're dried, we'll wait till we get enough to take to the fur buyer, because that's it. Whenever you sell them, it has to be a licensed fur buyer. I can't just sell it on like YouTube or something like that, or eBay or anything like that. Licensed fur buyer will buy them, and I mean honestly, the price has gone down so much in the years. Like, unless the farmers are having issues with the foxes, or they tell us specifically, shoot the coyotes and the foxes. Most of the time, we'll let the foxes go, just because it's not worth taking them out for the fur. And like I said, unless they're having a direct issue with the animal killing their chickens or something like that. Coyotes are the main target whenever we go out hunting predators at nighttime.
Yeah. Do you guys tan them yourself too, or you just sell them as a pelt?
So no, we sell them green. We sell them green to the fur buyer, and then they ship them to work. Yeah, they do all the tanning, and they'll send them off. Like if you do, like the foxes, they'll make like coats or gloves or something out of it. They sell it to somebody that does that. They don't do that themselves, but since they are a licensed fur buyer, they have the availability to sell them to people that do that type of thing. We also trap when trapping season comes in. I think the record that my dad's been trapping since 1997. I want to say, I think it was the year I was born. Maybe it might have been a little sooner than that. He's going to kick me in the butt if he sees this and I didn't have the date right, but a long time ago. There was a year they would run a 200-mile every day, because in the state of West Virginia, you have to check your traps by law every 24 hours. Mm-hmm. If there's going to be a bad snowstorm or something where you can't get out, you don't want to take the chance of being inhumane. Like, they would go out the day, check the traps, and if they couldn't get back out there within that time frame, they would set the traps off until whatever melted, or they pull them, because by law you have to check it every 24 hours. But I believe in a 2-week period, running a 200-mile line, I think it was 477 red foxes is what they caught. Yeah, it was a lot. They were bundles. There's a picture somewhere floating around of my dad with all the furs bundled up. I think it was like 10 or 12 in a bundle, and they were just lined up, like hanging up along the trapping shed that we had. It was pretty dope. Hey, your mic's muted. There you go.
You want to hear a funny story about the term "a pot to piss in"? Do you know where that originated from?
Panning.
So yeah, so back in the day, tanneries used to buy piss off of people, right? And so families would have a pot that they would piss in. And if you were so poor and couldn't afford a pot, that you didn't have a pot to piss in to sell to the tanneries, and that's
Yeah.
where the term comes
That's
from
funny.
because
They'd
they used to
also
use
use they'd also use piss in World War or not World War II in Civil War to shine their buttons.
yep
To
Yeah.
shine their buttons.
yeah.
Yep, make their buttons shiny because of the acidity of the urine. Yeah, they'd use it to make their buttons shiny. So just imagine being a general and you just smell like piss walking around.
Had
Dude,
some really
I'm
shiny
pretty sure
buttons,
the
though.
piss.
It's Colonel
Uh,
Piss Pants.
yeah, I'm pretty sure they smelled worse than just the piss. Probably all the shit that they probably wiped their ass with leaves.
They're like,
Rotting
they're like,
flesh.
man, Lieutenant Crunch smells like piss, and he's like, actually, I've been promoted. It's Captain Crunch.
Oh shit! I was actually just watching a documentary
Captain Crunch
about
is crazy.
Ulysses S. Grant. Talk about Civil War and everything.
Mhm.
That dude was a bad motherfucker. I don't know if you know all his stories, but Civil
I've
War. That
learned
dude was
everything about I've learned everything about Ulysses S. Grant from the movie Wild Wild West with Will Smith in
totally accurate.
it.
No, that
100% accurate
no,
historically.
that dude was a bad motherfucker, but he also didn't give a shit how many people died if it meant winning,
Winning.
his battle.
Collateral damage. What's that?
Yeah. I think he lost a few thousand men in like the first hour of a siege and was like, fuck it, we're gonna keep
It's like,
going.
but we won. But we
Hey, we
won.
won though.
No, they
you know what I
lost.
mean?
They still
they
lost.
lost.
Oh yeah, well, they did lose.
Yeah, they still lost. It was near Spotsylvania, Virginia. They were trying to push to Richmond, and that push to Richmond, they like Lee was just fucking them up, and he was like just keep running at them, and like thousands of men died within the first hour, and he was like, keep going, fuck them. Yeah, dude, that dude had no
We just
quit.
sounded really stupid whenever we're like, what they won though.
No, he didn't.
Hey, in
No.
Wild Wild West they did, all right?
They
beat
did
the
win in
spider
Wild Wild
thing.
West. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Exactly.
That's what I
You
said.
know what I mean?
Yeah,
Will Smith came through before his wife cheated on him. You know what I mean?
The spider dude, man.
Yeah,
He's
the
gonna walk up
spider.
and slap you. Talk about his wife like that. But so what advice would you give to someone that's never hunted before, never really been around hunting, but really wants to get into it? Maybe whether it's to feed his family or whether it's hobby or or whether it's just trying something new to learn a new skill. What would be the best advice you'd give someone to get into hunting? And that's amongst all animals, deer, turkey, ducks, coyotes. What's something you would tell them?
First thing I would say is check your laws first. See if you have to have like a hunter safety course. He's over there laughing. A lot of states require you, unless you're grandfathered in with your birth date's like a certain date. I don't know the exact date, but I would check the laws and make sure that you're not required to have some sort of like educational class before, like a safety class before you go out and do that. And then I would say, do your research. Watch a lot of videos, know how to shoot, know how to make an ethical choice, and just have fun. That's what it's all about, man. I could go out and sit in the woods and not see anything, but I'm in the woods and I'm having a good time. Like I'm just enjoying the nature. If someone's doing it strictly for food, obviously don't overkill year round. I know there's a lot of people. I could get a lot of controversy for this, but around this area, also know your terrain. What's the furthest shot you're going to be taking? What you're comfortable with, what's ethical, what's behind it. Also, like your caliber. If you're hunting strictly for meat, you want to get as much meat out of that animal as you can. I personally use a 308 for deer, which is the largest game we have around this area. there's some people that are like, I use 300 Win Mag. You know, it's cool, but I've seen the exit holes on a 300 Win Mag. It also goes to round choice. If you're shooting like pointed soft points or ballistic tips, you know, but there's more energy. 300 Win Mag does have a lot more energy behind it, so you're going to have a bigger exit hole. You know, you're going to lose more meat depending on your shot. Also, choose your shot. I usually try to shoot. You know, if I'm shooting for meat, I'll try to shoot like behind the shoulder, or if I'm shooting to where I don't want to drag it, and with the way that I shoot, like I'm confident in my shot. I zero my rifles in to know my equipment before I go out to make sure I can make that ethical shot. Most of the time, I'll try to shoot front of the shoulder and the neck, and the deers just drop and they feel nothing and they're going like that. That's where I usually try to shoot. But honestly, the biggest thing that I would say for someone that's trying to get into hunting, like I said, know your laws and regulations. Last thing you want to do is try to get food for your family and be in jail. Just make sure you're good on that, and then you know, do your research and have fun. That's what hunting's all about. Make it about family, make it about fun, and just make good ethical choices. You know, learn how to field dress and learn how to properly dress your animal. Get as much meat out of it as you can if you're hunting solely for meat.
So, real quick, that's one of the things that I was told by one of my coworkers is that you want to field dress them as quickly as possible, right?
Yes. That can all play into weather. If it's, I personally don't like to hunt when it's warmer outside, because say God forbid it happens to everybody, you may shoot a shot to where you have to track that deer, and it could be to where you pulled a bad shot and you're kicking yourself in the ass for it, but you're tracking that deer and you see it laying there and you get close to it and it jumps up and it goes off, back out. Don't push that deer any further, back out, mark your trail, back out, come back the next day if it's cool enough. That's where it comes into field dressing. If it's cool enough outside, you can get away with that. If it's warmer outside and you get to your deer, you want to field dress that thing as quick as possible. Also, because you don't want the meat to spoil. But also, it's going to be a lot lighter to drag back. I usually do field dress my deer in the field. Sometimes it depends on where we're at, what time frame we got, what the temperature is, how was the shot. Did the shot hit anything that could rupture down here? If you pull a good shot on a deer, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to have anything that's going to be puncturing the gut or the stomach or anything like that. And if it's cooler outside, like under 40 or below freezing, you're good. Because by the time you get it back to your house, then you can do it. But then when you get to your house, where are you going to put it? You know, unless you have like a farm or something like that. I usually try to field dress it as soon as possible, just to avoid any spoiling and for weight reduction as well.
Yeah. I want to touch back. You said about ethical shots. You've mentioned it a couple times. That's a big thing because I've seen a lot of people. I mean, I'm not an avid hunter. I've hunted before, mainly bow.
Never hunted avids.
Yeah. But you see a lot of people like when they get into like, you know, seeing their first deer, especially like bow hunting, you know, and that deer may be 50, 60 yards out, you know, 40 yards out, whatever, and they're not comfortable shooting that, but they see the deer and their excitement takes over and they want to take that shot, and they also get their jitters, you know. Don't take a shot you're not ready for, you know.
No, 100%.
Yeah, there'll be
like
more
I said,
deer
that comes back to what do you train at? What do you practice at? What is your equipment? You know, I hunt traditional only at this time. I use recurves and longbows. I try not to push a shot out past 20 yards. Could I? Yes. Am I confident enough that I'm going to hit within where I need to? No, I don't push it out past that. For traditional archery, which is what I hunt myself, I try to get the deer as close. The challenge to me is getting the animal in as close as I can get them. A lot of people miss shots. A lot of people miss more shots at 5 yards than they do at 20 yards because they get overconfident and they don't understand how that bow works. With also traditional archery, yes, the drop as well. When you're hunting with traditional equipment, you don't have a release and sight pins and, okay, well, let me use my sight pin and come down lower. You got to think. So what we do is we use, it's called string walking. So if I'm shooting out 15, 20 yards, I shoot with my fingers. I come up, I anchor and I put the tip of my arrow where I want to hit, and I try to practice on like a bottle cap size. So aim small, miss small. You know, if I'm hitting the cap or if I'm hitting around the cap, that's a deer's heart. I'm confident at 20 yards that I can hit that. A lot of people miss more at 5 yards because they don't understand the deer's closer. If you were to pull up and aim your shot, you are going to be shooting over that deer.
Yeah.
You need to string walk, which brings your fingers down. If this was the knocking point of the arrow, normally I'm shooting here. This is where my knocking point is in between because I shoot two under, one over. And then, but what a lot of people don't understand is you string walk, you want to bring your string down. When you pull back, it brings your anchor point, it brings the end of the string up, which in turn brings your arrow down. So when you walk down the string, you bring it up. It's kind of like a rear sight on a firearm. You know, you're pulling back and you're lower, so your anchor point's higher, which brings the tip of your arrow down. And that's what you usually try to practice out like 5 yards or something like that. Because a lot of times if you were to shoot regular at 5 yards, you would hit consistently above your target, probably about like that. If that's your anchor point for 20. There's lots of YouTube videos on that if anybody's interested in like string walking technique or anything like that. Because it's traditional archery is a lot bigger than I thought it was whenever I first got into it. And it puts the hunt back into hunting for me. I'm not shaming anybody that uses compounds or crossbows. I used compound before. There may be a time that I need to again. There may be a time I need to use a crossbow. I'm not shaming anybody. You do what you enjoy. If you enjoy going out there, whatever gets you out in the woods, do it. Yeah. If you're comfortable with a crossbow or a compound, do it. You know, you can obviously pull longer shots with a crossbow. It's pretty much like shooting a rifle. To a certain extent, now 100 yards, the new crossbows nowadays, 100 yards isn't nothing. Like you can put arrows right in where you need to do it. I know a lot of people that shoot compounds and they practice out 60, 70 yards with their sight pins. They're adjusted. They can drop it right. They can drop. Like I said, it all comes to what are you comfortable with, and what are you comfortable with your equipment. If you're not comfortable with making a 30-yard shot or a 60-yard shot on an animal, I wouldn't do it. If you practice at 20, 30, and 40, and this animal's out at 50, it might sound like 10 yards to you, but for your sight pin, I could put you back here. Shot angle is a big thing with archery. If you guys are the shooter and I'm the deer, the quartering 2 shot. There's a lot of mixed controversy on this. For me, you're going to shoot in here if they're quartering to you, but where's your arrow going to exit out? It's going to exit out back here. You take a chance of hitting gut. You know. So there's just a lot. There's a lot of shot angle. You're never going to. You're not always going to have a perfect shot. And if you're strictly hunting for meat to feed your family because you don't have any way other than doing that, and you need to get that deer down no matter what the cost is, you got to do what you got to do. But as far as hunting for sport and for the fun of it, and also getting the meat as a bonus, you always want to make an ethical shot, and you want to make sure that the animal does not suffer as much as it can. Yeah.
And for people that don't know, we're talking about the deer drop. You want to explain that a little bit for people that don't know what that is?
Yeah. So for archery, obviously it's not as the arrows don't travel as fast as a bullet. By the time you shoot your rifle, that deer never heard it. It's just it's done. With archery, if you're shooting a compound, I know there's some that are shooting like 300 feet per second, some more. So depending on what bow you have, there's noise. The arrow's not moving faster than the speed of sound. So whenever they hear a lot of times the deer will either like jump or they will like string duck. They'll hear it and they'll like get skittish. Somebody cracks their hands in front of your ear like that, you're gonna be like that. So like a lot of times I've seen does drop that much. I've seen them pretty much almost touch their stomach on the ground and arrows go right over them. So that's pretty much what the jump is. It can be called string jump. There's a lot of different references for it, but that's pretty much what that is. Basically, they're hearing that sound before the arrow reaches them. A lot of times, if it's further out, 20, 30 yards, by the time they drop down, they come right back up into it. But in a closer shot, you could get it right over. That's what a lot of people don't understand. Sometimes closer shots are harder, depending on your equipment, than further shots. A different thing, like I said, traditional archery that I shoot, compound bows are built for speed. So if you're trying to get into competitive, like archery shooting leagues or something like that, there are different classes. You can shoot a traditional class, but traditional bows are built for smack. So I shoot a 65-pound recurve bow. I shoot a Black Widow. They're handmade. They're really great bows. A little on the pricier side, you can get a beginner bow for much cheaper than that. I don't expect anybody to go out and just buy a Black Widow if they're getting into archery. See if you like it first. But so compound bows are built for speed. You know, you're shooting a lighter tip. You know, you're shooting a 100-grain tip, and whenever you're shooting a traditional bow, I'm shooting almost 600 grains forward to center. I have 150 grain field point, and I have weighted inserts inside my arrow that screw into the back of my insert. When it comes off the string, instead of the string pushing it, once it comes off the string, that mass takes over. Think of it like a dart. It's pulling it through. I've had more pass throughs with my recurve than I have when I hunted with compound. I've had a recurve with the single bevel grizzly broadhead, which basically it's a bevel on each side. So this side of the broadhead sharp and this side of the broadhead sharp, and they spin. So whenever it goes in, I've had it go through a rib bone, go through, nick the bottom of the heart, smack through another rib bone, and pass all the way through to the ground.
Wow.
And that deer ran probably, I don't know, 30 yards and killed over. I clipped the heart on it. But I've also shot deer with compounds that are, shooting 290, 300 feet per second, and it goes in and sticks in the off shoulder, and then they step forward and snap the arrow off. I've kept more arrows shooting traditional archery than I have shooting with a compound. You get more, it's just the mass just takes over. It just pulls it right through. It's like almost like a dart versus speed. It's mass versus speed, if that makes sense.
Can you explain the field dressing and what that is for people that don't know?
Yeah, so field dressing, not to get, gross people out, but a lot of people consider it or call it like gutting the deer. So basically what that does is it gets rid of all the insides. So that way, it's a lighter haul and it doesn't cause anything to spoil. So you did nick a gut or something like that. So for field dressing, there's lots of videos. There's for whitetail deer. I field dressed my first deer whenever I shot it when I was 8 years old. I shot my first gobbler, my first deer, my first squirrel, all that when I was 8 years old, because 8 years old is the minimum requirement for youth day in West Virginia. At that point, I have to check that now. For them to actually shoot the animal, you could go out with your dad and watch him or whatever, hunt whatever, but for you to go out on a youth day hunt and actually shoot the animal, I believe is 8 years old.
Hey, so I'm sorry, but hey, for all the liberals, West Virginia has rules apparently. All right, so calm
100%.
down.
No, we got plenty of them. Some of them are shit, some of them are good. But yeah. So basically, this comes back to what you were saying about people that wanted to get into it for the first time. Know your gear, know what you need to have with you. Obviously, if you're archery hunting, you need to know your gear. You need to know what you need after you shoot that deer. You're going to want a good knife. A lot of people use like buck knives. I carry pretty much a survival knife. It has a flint and everything on it, but it's a full tang knife. You don't need anything that fancy. You could do it. I've been out where I've hunted and I forgot my knife and I had to use a box cutter and it worked fine. But you know what I mean? You got to do what you got to do. You're going to want a good knife. There are all these other things you can buy. I think they call it a butt out, but you don't need that. Makes it easier. You don't need it. Basically what you want to do, if you want me to break it down for you, and I can give you an explanation kind of how you do it.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Basically, you find your deer. First thing you want to do when you walk up on your deer or your animal, whatever it is make sure that it is dispatched. You don't want to do anything if it's still alive. God forbid. Most of the time they're out. But like I said, ethically, make sure it's taken care of and dispatched humanely. Basically, what you do for a deer, I like to put it on their back, and then take the back legs. What I usually do is I'll step on the back legs, so I get everything here open where I need it. They're on their back, head up that way, ass towards me, sus, pause. But anyway, go around, you go around their ass, around their butthole, and that basically lets, whenever you get all the way up to what you need to do, you pull the guts out, it pulls everything out. Otherwise, it would still be attached to the body. So you basically split it up the middle, up through the sternum. When you get to the solar plex here, it's you're getting into the bone. So you kind of cut off to the side a little bit and get up through the cartilage. I usually split mine up all the way. There's a little diaphragm in there where the heart and lungs are, keeps it separated from the rest of the internals. You can cut that out. Depending on the shot and depending on how it was, most of the time the heart is good. So I usually keep that as one of the best parts of the deer to eat, in my opinion. So you can keep that. You can leave that in there if you want. That way you don't lose it going down the road or whatever. You basically just want to cut everything out carefully and make sure you don't cut yourself. And then you can basically pull everything out from the top, out through the back of the bottom of the legs. And cutting around the butthole lets you pull the intestines out all the way from the butthole, so you don't have like poop and stuff going inside. There's videos that you can watch that can explain it to you if you want to, like if you're an eyes-on learner. I know Austin can't remember anything. His aphantasia.
Aphantasia reference.
Think of an apple right now.
All I see is black.
All I see is black. Someone stole his apple.
I could picture black if you want, like just the color black. Yeah, back when I used to hunt archery and everything, right? We hunted at this one dude's property and he trained dogs. And so he wouldn't let us field dress on his property. And he lived on the side of a big hill. So we would have to trek these deer up this hill all the way, and it was absolutely miserable. It sucked every time.
Yeah, it depends on the state. Honestly, you know what he was training his dogs for? Was it deer?
It was I don't want to say it was deer. I want to say it was for hunting, but
Okay. Yeah.
I think it was fox hunting. I want to
Okay.
say.
Yeah.
I want to say it was foxes.
Virginia?
Foxes or coons. No,
Virginia? Maryland. Okay. I know they do
Yes.
a lot of fox hunting, like on horses. They'll have like the foxhounds. They'll run foxes.
Southern Maryland does
certain-
the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Certain states will allow you to run deer, but as a deer hunter myself and someone that has trained multiple breeds of dogs for different things, like I said, we would use beagles for rabbits, walkers and plots. We would hunt coons with those at nighttime. That's really fun. But as someone that does hunt deer for meat and for, obviously you want to rack, but we always disliked the deer chasers, if that makes sense. But certain states do allow deer chasers.
I've heard a lot of good things about people using them to find like deer that have had a bad shot and they run off.
No,
that
is different. That is different.
Yeah.
So here's the thing.
That's a good use though. I feel like.
Here's the thing, because my dad does that. And he offers a service for people that do like end up wounding a deer and they want to find it, whether it's their kid's first deer, they don't want to lose it, or if it's a trophy buck. He has I want to say it's a bloodhound blue tick mix. His name's Rodney, and he trails deer. He blood trails. So the scent of a deer versus the blood it's a different thing. He's actually a blood tracker, not necessarily. They do use the scents, but for that entire time that he's tracking, he's on a very long leash. He's not just out running the deer. He's held, 20 feet or so on a leash. But no, he's a pup. I think he'll be a year old, and he's already recovered a couple of deer for my dad, which is really nice. It's a really nice thing to have.
Have you seen about people using thermal drones for that too?
I have seen that. Also check your regulations, because I do know in deer season, you are not legally allowed in West Virginia to fly drones over like cornfields or things like that, because it's cheating.
Yeah.
To spot a deer, and that way it's I don't know how they consider. I know it's illegal, but I'm not sure if they're considering it illegal and unethical, because you're kind of just like spying. You're not really hunting at that point. You're not having them come to you. But I have seen that in on some videos and stuff like that. I would definitely, before you drop several grand on a thermal drone, make sure you can legally do it where you're at.
Yeah, I
Like I
think
said,
certain states offer like a certification or something. They offer something to where you can do it as a company to recover deer. If you're
right,
not using it, you can't use it
to
to
hunt the
hunt or
deer.
to
Right,
spot deer, but you can
right.
use it to, like, what you said your dad does, to recover
Yeah,
a deer. Especially if it's warmer weather and you don't want the meat to spoil, or if it was a bad shot. Because yeah, that's a nasty thing to lose as a deer, especially if it's like a kid's first deer or something like that,
yeah,
or something you've been really tracking down for a while.
yep. Yeah, and that, like I said, that all comes back to Dimitri always laughs when I say this: check your regulations to make sure you're good to go before you do anything. Honestly, like I said, you don't want to do something with the right intentions and end up being somewhere you don't want to be. So
Yeah,
In jail.
always make sure you're good. Um,
Yeah,
but
put you in the
yeah,
spotlight.
one of
yeah,
the things that what Rob told me because when I lived in my old house, I was about to get a crossbow for the coyotes, and then I was like, yeah, if I see a deer, I'm just gonna shoot it. He was like, yeah, you can't
Nope.
do that. I was like, what
Nope.
do you mean? He's like, yeah, it's not deer season. I was like, hold on a second. So you're telling me this thing is on my property and I still need to ask permission to take down the deer if it's out of season? He's like, yeah. I was like, that sucks.
yeah.
This is
I mean,
America.
depending on your state, a lot of states do offer like landowner. It still has to be in deer season, but it
Yeah.
won't count as one of your tags. You get your tags, your extra tags, and then some states offer like a landowner, like you shot it on your own land.
Mm,
So that which is
Yeah.
which is pretty nice. But a lot of times the reason that there is a season is because during the rut, it's breeding season, and if you were to shoot a doe in the springtime, which is
mm,
another thing here for the people that don't understand, oh, they have babies. Deer only have babies once a year.
mm.
All right,
Hmm.
and by the time hunting season comes back in, those babies are well enough off to live on their own. They don't need their
Yep.
mom anymore. This is what always cracks me up
This
when
is
people watch
Bambi.
Bambi. Yeah, when they watch
Yeah.
Bambi and they're like, "Oh my God, Bambi shot Bambi." First off, that guy was coaching. Don't put that on us. That guy was poaching. All right. um, but by the time deer season comes back in, those are ready to breed again, and they don't. Sometimes you'll still see the babies with them, but they're not technically babies anymore because they lose their spots. They're saplings. They're perfectly fine to be on there. And if something did happen to their mom, say their mom got shot on a youth day by a young hunter, and it was his best day of his life, people are like, "Oh, but the babies are fine."
Yeah.
Honestly, if it wasn't for hunters, there would be an overpopulation of deer. You'd have
Yep.
more auto accidents. You'd have less food for them to survive, and they'd end up starving to death
Yep. And
because they don't have
disease.
enough food. So and
Yep.
disease. So that hunters are a big factor. People think it's all about I gotta kill something. Like I said, I could be out in the woods and go out hunting in an evening, going out looking for deer, and I might not see what I'm wanting to see. I might see a bunch of does come out. I might not see nothing. I'm out there to have a good time because I grew up doing this. It's not about the kill for me. It's about the time that I have out in the woods that I'm enjoying because I'm you know
Yep.
I'm away from the hustle and the bustle of everything else. Like
Yep.
it's just me, and I'm there to just relax. And if it wasn't for people like general hunter population, everybody gets a bad rap for poachers and stuff like that. But 90% of your people are following the rules, and they are doing their
Yeah.
research. They are trying their best to make ethical shots. They are trying to do everything right, and they get a bad rap for it because they're hurting this deer. But if it wasn't for the people thinning out the population, like I said, there'd be less food. You'd have more accidents. I mean, there's a ton of accidents. Just imagine if nobody was taking any of the deer out. There'd be
Yeah, yeah.
accidents all over the road.
Yeah.
People are like, well, there wasn't accidents 100 years ago. Well, it wasn't cars 100 years ago. Right.
Yeah.
They
Well,
were.
the
They
thing,
were just a lot slower.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
thing you
There's
said,
more. There's more submarines in the sky, or there's more planes in the ocean than there are submarines in the sky. Yeah,
yeah.
so,
The
So
thing you said was the overpopulation. Like, people don't realize that trash on hunting, especially like vegans and everything like that, PETA, all that. Hunting is so vital to our country because of the fact that it does control population. It
hmm
controls deer being able to get the food they need, not spread disease, and then also it's like I don't know if West Virginia does it. I believe Maryland does, to where if the deer don't, if there's not enough deer killed in the season, they'll actually extend it an extra weekend.
Mhm.
Um,
We offer. I'm pretty sure Maryland does it as well, depending on. But I know how West Virginia works it. If a farmer is having issues with his crops and it's
mhm.
not quite deer season yet, he can get crop damage permits.
Yeah, Maryland
He can
does
get
it
a
too.
set amount. He can get a set amount, and once they're filled out and called in, he can get more. Because
Hmm.
I've driven by lots of farms. Like we do crop damage on farms. So like some of the farms that we hunt for the farmer, he plants corn and the deer are just out there killing it. You can walk out there at right before the time. You obviously call in and be like, let the dealer know like, hey, I'm doing crop damage here. If you hear gunshots or you see anybody in the field with deer, like we're here. If you come out, like you have all your permit. Like I said, make sure you're good with everything that you have. But yeah, crop damage is a big thing. And a lot of people don't understand, like, oh, why would you shoot coyotes? They're not hurting anybody. The coyote population has increased drastically within the past 10 years. You were talking about your cat. If in an area like that, the rural coyotes, I've seen videos of coyotes walking through developments, and
Oh
they're getting
yeah,
real,
in New
they're getting
York
real, they're
City,
getting
dude.
real, they're getting real brave, dude. They're getting real brave.
Dude,
I've seen them grab a kid's like jacket, and like luckily like
yeah,
the family
yeah,
dog came out and like scared it off, but they're getting real brave.
yeah.
I've watched them carry off Jack Russell Terriers. I've seen them carry off cats. So
Mhm.
for these people that are like, oh, why would you shoot that? It's just a little puppy dog. It's not. It's not a tame animal. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
It's a
Like,
mini wolf, dude. It's a
yeah,
mini wolf.
yeah, and there's actually coy dogs, coy dogs now. It's where a male dog breeds with a female coyote, and it has to be that way because a male coyote would just tear a female dog to shreds because it's a territorial thing. So basically, a
Yeah.
female coyote will come and heat if there's no males in the area. You get a ballsy enough dog, it's still canine. They smell the in heat female, and they'll have koi pups. And like we've had some of
White
those before, but
Fang.
they're complete. White Fang was a wolf. But
I know.
anyway,
I know.
um,
Mini White Fang.
um, yeah, but they'll do that, and but like I said, these people were all like worried about like the coyotes and stuff like that, but they love their animals. They love their cats, their dogs, their especially small dogs. Their chickens and stuff like that. They have no issues coming in and carrying those away. They don't know, oh, that's a cat or that's a dog. They're like, that's food. And
Yeah.
I've seen pictures of like on trail cams of coyotes carrying Jack Russell with its spine snapped, where they killed it and were just carrying it back to their den or whatever. So it's not just
Mhm.
about we got to get out here and kill these because we want to kill, 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 kill. No, we're trying to help with the population of whatever we're hunting with. That's a big bonus in that as well, keeping the population low. Whether you're hunting coyotes, deer, foxes, whatever it is, an overpopulation of anything
It's not good.
leads to less food. It leads to more disease, um, and that type of thing. Like it's not just about the kill. You're trying to make a better time for your kids to go out and hunt, to where there won't be a restriction on it, or they won't be able to eat the meat that they kill because of disease. It's
So
it's mostly about
y-
that.
yeah, so you guys have mentioned disease a lot. What disease is usually in the deer?
So
And what's the
deers.
process for testing for it?
So for deer, CWD's a big has become a bigger thing. So basically, testing for it, you have to basically it have to be taken off and tested at a lab. Um, if you shot one and thought it was you should call it in and let them know, hey, I shot this deer. I'm pretty sure it has CWD. And you can look up the symptoms for that, but it basically what CWD does is, and that's why they've killed a lot of baiting in my county at least. Certain
Mhm.
other counties in West Virginia where they don't have like a higher CWD concentration, um, which honestly baiting in my opinion doesn't really lead to that because they're drinking out of the same water holes, they're drinking out of the same ponds, they're drinking out of the same stuff. So I mean, I get it can help cut it down. Maybe they're not eating off the same pile or whatever. Um, but it's basically a disease that just ravages the deer population. Um, I
Is
could
it
Google
spread
it. I
through the
could Google it.
Saliva?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
what they've come up with. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's what they're probably saying to keep it away. So about my cat, the feline AIDS, it's not through blood like human AIDS.
Right, right.
It's through saliva. So when he got in fights with the stray cats down the street, that's how he got it. So
They shouldn't have been making out. They should have been fighting.
oh, they were fighting.
Austin's
That
a
dude
big
kicked
guy.
everyone's ass.
After he died,
He's
all
like,
the other
I'm
cats
gonna
were able to walk
Will
again.
you love me forever?
Yeah,
remember?
basically, dude. Yeah, man.
Looking like
was,
Ted. It's looking like Ted
Jasper
from
was
Ted
the-
movie.
Yeah. I actually, I was walking around one time in DC with my dog, my old lab, and everything, and we were walking this like small, and I mean small, little nature trail in DC, and my dog was really good. I never had to have her on a leash. You know, she would come to me if I called her, and we ran up on a deer, and it definitely had CWD. This thing was not acting right, and my
what's the
dog.
symptoms?
Um, I mean, I think there's a bunch of other stuff, but I've seen a lot where like head shaking's one.
Head
Um,
shaking, like being delusional. Most of the time, if you see a deer out in the daytime and it doesn't like have any trauma or like any visible wounds or any kind, and it's just kind of like
looks like it's drunk.
if it looks like it's doing the fence fold in the middle of the field, that's CWD.
Yeah. Um, yeah, my dog
Yeah,
started going
so
crazy over it.
yeah,
I had to keep
so
her
it's
away.
drastic weight loss, lack of coordination, drooping
Chronic
head and
waist disease.
ears.
Yep.
Yeah.
CWD
Excessive
yeah.
salvation, lack of fear, repetitive behavior.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah,
But that,
CWD stands for chronic waist disease. Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
But the reason I was saying that is it's an example of going back on the overpopulation and everything and lack of food and stuff. And it causing disease. Being in DC, there's obviously nothing, and I mean like we were in Northwest DC. There's nothing around, and the only deer I saw had CWD that clearly had it. You know. And so it's like this is a clear example of we're growing as a population, growing as a society, and their land shrinking. So we need to continue hunting, you know, for these deer to stay healthy and to stay prevalent so we can have deer in the future, you know, because
Well, one
eventually
day,
they'll all die off. If we stopped hunting, the deer would just die off.
one day they might hunt us.
Yeah. One day they might hunt us. Yeah. You know, it's not like, I saw a video one time where someone was talking about like all the animal they were making a case for hunting, right, or against hunting, and they were like these are all the animals that are about to go extinct, and they put koalas on a list, right? Well, koalas have like STDs out the ass, and they also eat food that is killing them, but like they're killing themselves, you know. It's not, and it's not the
They're
same thing.
suicidal.
Yeah. But yeah, like, but no,
They
it's
just got
definitely
syphilis out the yin yang. Is that what you're saying?
I think they have
He got
chlamydia.
feline AIDS. He's got to pick up feline AIDS.
But no, it's vital for hunting. You know, it's a big part of America, and we need to keep doing it. We need to keep teaching younger generations to get at it and respect it, and you know, obey the laws, and to do it ethically. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
that's a big part of it too. And you know, respecting the animal. It's not the if you're hunting, one of the biggest parts of hunting is you know respecting that animal, and that comes back to like why you want to make ethical shots and things like that.
Yeah.
You know, when the Native Americans would hunt and they kill a deer, they would thank it for sacrificing itself so that they could live.
Yeah.
And it comes back to a deeper point in like that, like you know, thank you for being here, thank you for providing me with this.
Yeah. One thing I've noticed is people that hunt, I feel like respect animals more than people that don't. You know, there's a more
Yeah.
there's a more deeper love and respect for an animal when you hunt, and you rely on it for food. You know,
Yeah, no, 100%.
than the people that are out there, you know, just being activists for no fucking reason.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, everybody, like you said, when people hunt, they think that they hate animals, and that's not the
Yeah.
case at all. If anything, I love animals, and that's why, because I would hate to be the reason that something starves to death, whenever I could have done something to make less of a problem in that future. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I would personally, in my own opinion, knock on wood. But if I had a choice of guaranteed, if I was going to starve to death or be shot, I'd rather be shot. Just being honest, like 100%. Like if you had that choice, I don't want either. Don't get me wrong, I don't want either. But if I had the choice of you're either going to starve to death or you're going to get shot and it'd be quick, you're going to die either way. There's no way out of it. I'd rather be shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, those people don't realize, like, the deer that's getting shot ethically, like you're saying, actually had a better life than the steak they're buying.
Yeah.
That they've never seen. They don't know. Like, you can't even videotape those places where these cows are being raised. They're literally growing up on piles of their own shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then it's like that their life is like next to a bunch of cows. They can't move. They're shitting on each other, pissing on each other, eating from the same crappy food, and then they
Pigs,
get
chickens, all that.
slaughtered.
Yeah. Yep.
You know?
Same goes for any big,
Pigs.
any
all
big
that,
animal
yeah.
that gets processed.
Yeah.
Which is why if I can, obviously, I'm guilty of going to the store and getting things that I need but if I can, that's why I try to like outsource my, to like a farm raised beef or something that I've seen or like I've paid for or, we'd raise pigs. We'd get, pigs just to raise them up and then with the intent of butchering. That's not us being mean. Whenever I grew up like that, we wouldn't name them. If we were going to have an animal we were going to keep, we would name it. We never put a name on it. That was food. And, even as a kid, you're like, when you see the animals and stuff like that, but it's hard to understand, but you get a grasp on it and it helps you understand, like, okay, this is food. This is pet. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So basically if I can, I'll try to buy like a whole cow or a half cow, and that'll last us, for the year, or at least until deer season comes in, and I can put a couple deer in the freezer. She just made some stew with some of the deer that I had shot, and dude, it's so good. And a lot of people don't understand. They don't understand that deer meat is honestly the leanest meat that you can eat. Like they're so lean. There's hardly any fat on them at all. And it's one of the most healthy for you too. And I know for a fact if I shoot a deer and I know it's a healthy deer, I know what I'm eating. Like I know what I'm getting. I know what I'm getting from that. I did this myself. I shot it. I cleaned it. I prepped it. I deboned it. I sliced it up. I put it in the bags. I wrote on the bag and I put it in the freezer. I know what I'm eating at that point.
Yeah,
Like I said,
especially now.
I'm guilty of buying stuff from the store. So, but like, nobody's perfect. But at that point, I know what I'm eating.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Exactly.
Especially now because Bill Gates' meat, the lab-grown meat, is out there, and it's not labeled lab-grown meat. I forgot the wording they're using. Cellularly grown or some crap like that. But it doesn't have it in big letters. It's like a tiny little statement on somewhere on the package that you would never look for.
Yep.
But
I'm not
Tommy,
getting
you
into
said
conspiracy theories. Yeah, one more. Yeah, one second.
Yeah.
You're trying to kick me off, but
I
I'm not
was
getting
looking
into,
out for you.
I appreciate it. I'm not getting into conspiracy theories, but I swear the eggs from the store aren't real eggs. But
No.
you know what I mean? I've had chickens. My parents still have chickens, and the eggs that we get from the chickens, like the consistency is different, the taste is different. I don't know. I'm not saying 100% everything, but I think majority of the eggs you get from the store aren't real eggs. They don't fry up the same. You know what I mean?
But we started getting Pete and Jerry's pasture raised eggs, and they taste a lot more like the farm grown eggs that we've gotten before. They're not organic because they don't have to be. They just go out and roam and make eggs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
Real quick, want to give a shout out to our sponsors. If you guys are looking for a firearm, Cocked Firearms is the place to go. If you're looking for firearm accessories, if you're looking for anything you need, he's got it. Cocked Firearms. And then if you do buy a firearm, let's say a pistol, and you need a place to carry that pistol, you know, you need a holster. Goliath Defense, they make the best holsters around, and you cannot beat them. So go check out Cock Firearms and Goliath Defense.
Right there, everybody.
And use code 2AB for 10% off.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna probably go in there and get me a holster for my Glock 17.
Dude, he makes actually pretty sick holsters, you know. His
I
appendix
actually
rig is really
need
nice.
I actually need to get probably a custom holster made for my FN 502. So I've got the light and the optic on it, and
He's got a bunch of different options for that. He's got a
yeah,
bunch of different
that,
options to match lights and optics and stuff like that.
yeah.
So,
I'll definitely go in there and see what I can get.
Yeah, I'll shoot him a text if you want, Tommy. Send me an email
Okay.
what you want, and I'll shoot him a text. I'll shoot.
Okay,
Colin a
yeah.
text.
No, I just picked up this FN 502, and it's really fun gun to shoot. It's chambered in 22, long rifle, but the only thing that I did have with it, speaking on this gun specifically, is I upgraded the guide rod and spring to help with rechambering while suppressed, because it has a heavier guide rod in it now that I upgraded that. But I have the light and the optic on this, so I probably need to get something custom made for that specifically. So yeah, I'll shoot you an email over. It'd definitely be cool to get something like that.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Or, well, let's get off of here. I'll give you my number, and you could just text me. You don't have to send me an email.
Yeah, no worries. I'm tired of sending emails.
Yeah, exactly. It's 2026. But Tommy, thank you so much for being on tonight, man. It was an awesome conversation. Tell everybody where they can find you if you have any socials to follow or anything like that.
Yeah, none to list at the moment, but I really appreciate you guys having me on and if people are listening to this, I'm not a 100% expert. Like I said, check your shit, make sure it's good, make sure it's legit. Like I tell everybody, I can give you my opinion on things. I may do things a little differently. Take what I say with a grain of salt and find out what works best for you. But I really appreciate you guys having me on. Looking forward to doing it again sometime, and I'll catch y'all later.
Oh yeah.
All right.
All right, guys.
All right, hold on one. There we go. Josh is the evil genius. He's not here. But all right, everybody, thank you for watching today, and yeah.